Samupe, Sampa Dietia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Samupe, Jumpa Dietia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and Yumpankuma, Asam Pankuma. Egratumma era one yebo numpankwa
Kosua neti era one radio empenyini say yensoma na motenten yesoma banyasafo era one radio yedinsem anumuaye ebe.
Hello beautiful people of Ghana, this is Boison Specialist Hospital. We are so excited to announce to our people Ghana that we are finally opened and we are accepting patients. At Boison Specialist Hospital, our extraordinary physicians and nurses are here to provide a high quality medical service to our extraordinary patients. Our services include primary care services, maternal, neonatal, and pediatric services. We also have an in-house pharmacy. We have x-ray and laboratory services available to you. Come to us for all your healthcare needs and you will be happy you did because we believe that health is wealth. Thank you and stay blessed.
Samope, Sampa Dietia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Samope, Jumpa Dietia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and you punctua, Chintu, Asam punctua. The gratum kuma era one yebo yumpankuma.
Good evening to you all, Era One radio listeners and viewers all over the world. It's Tuesday, December 6, 2022, and you are on the Divine Connection Show. I'm your host, Charles Boison, as you always do. Tonight, I'm coming your way with this topic called Change Comes From Within and Starts With You. My guests are off tonight, and so I'm going to fill in. Of course, it's election night in Georgia, so you can imagine what is going on there. Anyway, in case you just joined us, this is the Era One Radio TV station live. I'm broadcasting live from Facebook and also from YouTube. You can also get us on Modern Ghana Radio or Garden Radio. Well, as a warm-up, I want to give a shout-out to my CEO, Dr. Samuel Osetutu. Yesterday was his birthday, so I believe his wife has taken him somewhere. I don't know, he didn't tell me, but I'm sure they are going to chill, so he's not available. You can't find him anywhere today, but he's chilling somewhere. So, Dr. Ostus, I wish you a belated birthday. I know you are chilling. You've worked so hard, and so you deserve to go and chill. I hope First Lady Sister Abna from Poma is, treating you very well. All right. So before I go into my topic, I'm going to do a few warm-up. As you know, we try to give you some warm-up concerning trending issues. I am my own anchor today. All right. So in case you join us and you want to contribute or ask a question or contribute, the number to call in is 240-280-2633. And you can text us on 510-931-0946. And as I said earlier on, we are broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and Modern Ghana Radio. All right. Let me start with some soccer surprises. For those of you who love soccer, I love soccer. I play soccer. And even now, I still play, although the stamina is gone, but I still love to play. So there's been a lot of surprises in this year's World Cup soccer. Right now, we've just crossed the round of 16s. We are entering the quarterfinals. And Portugal today, messed up Switzerland by 6-1. Wow, how did that happen? 6-1. That was a lot of goals to give one team. I mean, that is too much. And then Morocco held Spain, our only African country left. Morocco held Spain to 0-0, and then they went on penalties. And then the penalties ended in 3-1. Morocco qualifies to the quarterfinals now. They are going into the quarterfinals. All right, and yesterday, Brazil also killed South Korea, scoring them by 4-1. All right, so the matches that are coming up, Friday, we have Croatia playing Brazil. Neymar is back in the game. He was there yesterday, and we'll see what happens Friday. And the same day, too, Argentina is going to play Netherlands. It's going to be another, huge match. And then the following day, on the 10th, Morocco will play Portugal. It's anybody's game now. You can't even predict. All the teams that we thought were underdogs that couldn't stand to the big boys are now surprising people. Morocco is standing in for Africa. So we wish them all the best. And at 2 p.m. that same day, England will play France. The Mbappe boys and Kane of England will meet, and we'll see, how it goes from there in the semifinals. So I want to say kudos to Morocco for representing Africa and making it this far. If you look at some statistics, and my good old buddy JB Downka sent me some statistics. He said the only 4 African countries that have made it to quarterfinals thus far: Cameroon made it in 1990, Senegal followed in 2002, Ghana made it to 2010. That is when our own Suarez caught the ball in the net and prevented Ghana from scoring, and so Ghana was awarded a penalty, and the famous penalty was lost. Samuel Jan played that penalty, and then it was a nice penalty he played, but then it hit the post, and so it bounced back, and we lost that. And come to think of it, this year too, we faced Uruguay again, and then we had another penalty. History repeated itself, but everybody knew the captain Ayew was going to convert that penalty right into the post. But see what happened. Up to now we are all grieving. He played it into the waiting hands of the goalkeeper. So Uruguay, capitalized on our loss. We were demoralized, and they turned around and gave us 2-0, Kofioko, and so they sent us packing. And then Morocco has now reached the quarterfinals in 2022. So that is something good that we are looking forward to. Who knows? Hey, they can go far. And now, you can predict Brazil is there, Argentina is there, France is there, Netherlands, and I think the last are gone. Okay, all right. So whoever is there, we'll see how it goes. But we have the big dogs. The big dogs are now in the team. We have Morocco, we have Croatia, we have Brazil, and then Portugal is there. Switzerland is gone. But then we'll see how it turns out from here. All right, what is the other warm-up news? We have politics going on, politics everywhere. And tonight, all attention is being focused on Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. The Georgians are having their elections going on. They are voting to get their senator, who used to be Warnock. The incumbent is still there, and Raphael. And then we have, this new guy also coming in. We have the new guy, is it Hersha? Is it Hersha? Yeah. Hersha also coming in. Herschel also coming in to, kick this guy out. So the elections are going on. I'm sure in the next less than an hour, the voting will cease. The ballots will be counted, and we'll find out who wins that election. If Warnock wins, then he asks up to what in the Senate now for Democrats to, rule that place. If not, then our man also decreases their number. So it's going to be a tussle in the Senate, but we'll see what happens. All right. So we're going to go on to our topic tonight. But before we do, let me warm you up, and then we'll get kicking.
Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Samupe jumpe dietia. Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Oh, chintu ayumpam chima. Chintu asampam chima. Chintu egratum chima. Era one, yebo yumpankua.
You are tuning to Era One Radio, broadcasting live on Facebook and YouTube, also on Modern Ghana Radio. Do not change your dial right now for the next, 44 minutes. Stay with me, and I will bring you some updates. So those of you in Georgia areas, if you haven't voted yet, go and cast your vote. Either it's Herschel Walker or Raphael Warnock, any of them that you want to vote for based on their principles and the ideologies that you want to follow. Go and cast your vote. All right, tonight I'm doing a little exhortation, and then we'll all go and listen to the results coming from Georgia. It's going to be fun. All right, tonight I'm talking about change that comes from within and starts with you. I want to do a character study tonight, and I'm picking my character carefully from the book of Kings, and I'm picking it from 2 Kings chapter 21. I'll read from 23 to 25, and I'll go to chapter 22, 1 and 2, and I will pick up some nuggets from there. All right, so this is the story about a young king called Josiah. Some of you might say Josiah, but Josiah, who was coronated a king, made a king at the very, very early age of 8. We'll find out how that became possible, that an 8-year-old boy could become a king. So I'm going to read from 2 Kings chapter 21. Okay, 21. I'll read from the ending parts. That is, I'll start from 19, yeah, and then I'll end up 25. All right, so this is what 19 says. It said, Ammon was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 2 years. His mother's name was Meshullemith, daughter of Herus. She was from Jodbah. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord as his father Manasseh had done. So he just followed the same path. He followed completely the ways of his father, worshiping the idols his father had worshipped and bowing down to them. He forsook the Lord, the God of his ancestors, and did not walk in obedience to him. Ammon's officials conspired against him and assassinated the king in his palace. Then the people of the land killed all who had plotted against King Ammon, and they made Josiah his son king in his place. As for the other events of Ammon's reign and what he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? He was buried in his tomb in the garden of Uzzah, and Josiah his son succeeded him as king. Let me end with chapter 22, verses 1 and 2. Josiah was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 31 years. His mother's name was Jedidah, daughter of Adaiah. She was from Bozkath. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord and followed completely the ways of his father David, not turning aside to the right or to the left. Let's see what 3 says. I don't need 3, but in the 18th year of his reign, King Josiah sent the secretary, Shaphan, son of Azaliah, the son of Meshullam, to the temple of the Lord. He said, go up to Hilkiah the high priest. Well, I'll just end in the 1 and 2. Let's focus on the 1 and 2 from chapter 22. All right, so we are looking at this young king called Josiah. And as we rightly read in the scripture, we are told that this boy's father, who was also made a king at the age of 22. At the age of 22, he became a king. And instead of cutting a different lifestyle, he followed in the tracks of his father. That is why the English have an adage called like father, like son. He behaved exactly like his father. He did not turn any way, anyhow. He was just like the man who begat him. He did the same thing, worship the same idols his father worshiped, and then he ended up in a very bad way. So you can decide, do you want to track in the ways of your father, or you want to change your lifestyle? The fact that somebody gave birth to you doesn't mean whatever he's doing is good and that you should follow it. If what the person is doing is not good, you have to cut a different plan. That is what the next of kin, Josiah, did. Now, this boy, as Bible says, was 8 years old. I don't know how that happened, but of course, it's patrilineal inheritance or that lineage. If your father is gone, they put you there. And he was 8 years. I wonder what the kingmakers were thinking when they put this 8-year-old boy on the throne to become king. Of course, they were going by tradition, so they put him there. But of course, you also have to know that although he was 8 years and became king, there was something that he had to learn. He decided, I'm a child, I can't do it all. And so he surrounded himself with good people. We'll look at the characteristics of what made Josiah a good king. Because when you read the account, Bible says that he did not turn to the left or to the right, which to say, of course, you know this country, they align left and right to the political, polarity. Either you're a Republican or a Democrat, they said in the left or to the right. So simply saying this guy didn't turn to the left or to the right. He wasn't a Democrat. He wasn't a Republican. He was just who he was. I mean, that's just a figure of speech. But then he did not turn to the left or right. He followed God because he didn't want to be on a different side of the aisle. He just wanted to pursue God. So Bible says that he was a good guy who became a good ruler. And some of the things that we'll look at was because he had people that surrounded him. If you read an account of John Maxwell, one of my favorite writers. I love John Maxwell's writing. And John Maxwell gives a very good analogy. He treats this topic very, very well. I mean, if you get a hold of John Maxwell's book, read it. He gives a very good account of Josiah. And so you will learn the characteristics of this guy, what made this young ruler a very good one. So I want us to look at the characteristics that Josiah aligned himself, or what made him who he was. Because we are almost getting to the end of the year. 2022, as we started this year, is almost coming to an end. And sometimes we are looking at people to change situations for us. But the change that we want begins with us. If you've traveled a lot, you will know that every country has its culture. Even within the same country, there are different sects and people have their own different cultures and all that stuff. But then there are some cultures that we have to decide whether we want to go with it or we want to put it away. There is a culture of change that we want to see in people, but in actual fact, it begins with us. All of us have to change. You have to change. We all have to change. Whatever we want to see in people begins with us. And if you look at leaders, exhibiting all kinds of leadership, you cannot be the kind of leader who says, okay, do what I say, but not do what I say, but not what I do. It doesn't work. You tell somebody, hey, smoking is bad, don't smoke, but you go behind and you do it. If you're a leader, you want to be a good model, role model for others to, learn from you. So if you're expecting some kind of change, you have to start from you. And after traveling and globing all over the world, you realize that people are different. And some people, of course, expect their leaders to do everything for them. It doesn't work that way. The change has to come from you, and it starts from within. It comes from you. It has to start from your inside, your mentality, your mindset. Everything has to change. This guy, Josiah, realized that his people were doing things that were evil and wrong. He decided to change. But how he decided to do his changing was what? To start from himself. He knew that, okay, me, myself, I'm not perfect. So I have to change, and I let my leaders or the people who follow me, my followers, also change. That is how Josiah began. He knew that, God, I need to change so my people can follow my footsteps and also change. He had to change the system. The status quo wasn't the best. His father and grandfather were all evildoers. And he said, the buck stops with me. I am going to change this thing. I'm going to move to a totally different paradigm shift. I am changing the system. So he decided to change. And so I want us to look at the characteristics that made Josiah a very, very good leader, even at a very tender age. I don't know how many of us can become leaders or prime minister. He was literally the president of the country, Judah, at the age of 8. And so I would say, well, he had people who he had people behind him who helped him to rule, because at 8, I don't think he was even wise and smart enough to do anything. But of course, if God wants to use you, it doesn't matter your age. God can do anything with you. So this guy, from what we read, was unlike his father. He was no way like his father. We learned that his father was idol worshiper. He was evil and wicked and all that. This guy said, I'm going to turn away from all the things that my father exhibited. He didn't do any of the things that his father did. So he moved away. He wasn't like his father. He decided to change the game plan and do something new that will benefit him and benefit his people. He was a change agent and a change maker. All right. He did what was right in the sight of the Lord. As we read, he wasn't following his father into worshiping idols. He said, my father's idols didn't help him. I'm not going to do the same thing. But I know of a God who, when I follow, things will change. This is the person I'm going to follow. So he decided to do the right thing in the sight of the Lord. He went to inquire from the elders, and we will come to his mother, the role that his mother played in his life. That helped him, that tutored him to become what he was supposed to be. And then another characteristic was that he walked in all the ways of his father David. Somebody will say, oh, man, David wasn't the right guy. He went after somebody's wife and even orchestrated the death of one of the soldiers, the woman he slept with, husband and all that. So yeah, we know all that stuff. But still, God called David a man after my own heart. Why was it so? There was something about David that God recognized that he didn't find in most people. And so despite the fact that David had messed up and goofed up, God says that, well, he's still, after my heart, because there was something in him that I cherish. One thing that David exemplified was the fact that anytime he messed up, he repentantly, whichever the word is, he will go and ask for forgiveness. He will repent, turn around and say, Lord, I am sorry. And he did it wholeheartedly. Sometimes people can repent with their lips, but their hearts are far away from that truth. David messed up, but then he repented on the right tone. So here we are learning that Josiah walked in the ways of his father. All the good things that his father did, he followed after those. We don't hear of anywhere that he went to, chase another woman and he caused that woman's husband to be killed. He didn't follow that, but he did all the right things that David did. So he followed. Of course, he was, picking and choosing what is right and what is bad. If it is bad, I push it aside. If it is good, I copy it, I emulate it, and I live it for better results. So you have to decide. That is why God gave us a brain. Even the Almighty God doesn't push us to worship or do anything. He's giving us our life. That is why you can get up every morning and curse God and do whatever you want to say. Does he rain thunder on you? No, he wouldn't do it. He would just let you live your life any way that you want. But after your sunset comes and you go and face him, then you will know what you're going to tell him. But then I would say God is a Democrat. I mean, he wants us to do everything we want to do. He's given us our own will. But then when your life is over and you stand before him, then you're going to give account. I wish when we do something crazy, of course, some people get their punishment instantly or thereafter. But God allows us to use our own will to decide on what we want to do. He doesn't even force us to do anything. So this guy Josiah walked in the ways of David. He did what is right. He did what's acceptable because he knew his great-great-grandfather David lived a long time and he did some awesome things. All right. The other characteristic is that Josiah, his inner circle must have included some righteous people, men and women. And of course, he had a mother who was tutoring him. Unlike the mother of his father, Ammon, he had a very good mother who steered there because the mother knew that this boy is so young. The mother even couldn't comprehend that my son, 8-year-old boy, could become a king. And so the mother, 8 years. Some 8 years are still in diapers anyway. This guy was young. How do you make a king out of an 8-year-old boy? So the mother had to, straighten him up and dress him up and help him. Stuff that I have to do. And the kingmakers were also around. Hey, Josiah, you are young, but then you are the entitled king, so we'll just give you advice. And he had good people that surrounded him and gave him good advice. Can you imagine if he had some riff-raff crazy advisors? That's what he was going to take, because after all, he was 8 years, he knew no better. So the people that surrounded him, if they all were evil, they would give him evil, advice, and that's what he was going to implement. And that's how he would have ended up, because his father also came to the throne at the age of 22 years. And the people that his father surrounded with around him were all bogus people. So he never did any good. But this guy, he was blessed. He had good people. He had himself good people surrounding. Who are the people that surround you? And do you remember the adage that says, show me your friends and I'll show you your character? The people that you surround yourself with, they will determine who you are going to be. And so a question is, one of Pastor Jimmy asked a question one day. He said, what? If you are not a smoker, why do you hang around with a bunch of smokers? And I just came to a conclusion that there could be only two reasons. That one, you are trying to convert them into a good life, to be born again, or later on they will drag you to also become a drunkard or a smoker. Only two reasons. The reason why you are mingling with these people, you like them, and eventually you might become one of them, or you are pursuing them to get them out of that hole and bring them into the saving knowledge of our dear Lord. So you can't say, oh, me, I want to hang out with these boys. Yeah, I love the smoke, I love the drink, whatever. You don't have to hang around with people that are going to mess your life. If you want to gradually win them to a better life to Christ, it's acceptable. But if you realize it's not going to happen, just stay afar and pray for them. So this guy surrounded himself with good people who advised him and told him what to do. He did them, and it really ended well with them. So we have to know the kind of friendship that we take. If 2022, the friends that you accumulated didn't help you, I'm not telling you to kick them, but do an evaluation, do an end of year evaluation. Find out who helped me, who didn't help me. If these people led me into debt or whatever, do you want to still hang around with them? You have to advise yourself. Know what is right for you and choose your choices, but be very, very careful. So this Josiah had, of course, his mother was behind him. Give him all the good advice. Thank God for good mothers. Not the ones that will desert you or anything, but then he had a very good mother preparing his food, making sure nobody even prepare his food to poison him or anything. The mother was always there ready. Hey, Josie, what are you going to eat? He will prepare his breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He will make sure the boy is taking his bath and properly dressed. Of course, there were people around the king that were doing some of the major jobs. But this boy, by virtue of grace, surrounded himself with good people. And so as we go into 2023, what are the kind of people you're going to surround yourself with? If the ones you had in 2022 didn't help you, it's about time you evaluate your life and say, you know what, this thing didn't work, I have to change. Because you cannot keep doing the same thing and expect different results. That is what Einstein advised us, that if you do, then you're going to be a lunatic. All right, let me take a quick break and then we'll continue from there.
Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Samupe jumpe dietia. Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Oh, ayum pam chima. Chintu asam pam chima. Chintu ekratum chima. Era one, yebo numpankua.
All right, we are continuing our broadcast tonight on Facebook and YouTube. The number to call is 2402-802-633. And if you want to text, it's 510-931-0946. Again, I want to give a shout out to Dr. Samuel Osetutu, the birthday man. He had his birthday yesterday, and so he's chilling somewhere. I'm sure the wife is, really treating me very well. All right, so we're going to continue, and I'm talking about change comes from within, and it starts with you. If you want to see change in something or of anything, it has to start with you. And most often we tell the government to do things for us, but then our own lives are messed up. The character traits that we exhibit are so bad when we go about insulting people and all kinds of stuff, as if when they give you that position, you're going to do it well. Of course, sometimes you can blame them for what they do, but most often, if it begins from us, if we ourselves are patriotic and we are using our IQs very well, if we live as good citizens, when we become leaders, it will just continue. So we have to change our mind. And that change begins with us. We have to know what is right. If you are eating, we're here, it still doesn't happen too often, although a few people do it. When you are eating and you are down, you just don't throw the trash or whatever you down on the street and walk away. No, the police is going to give you a ticket. But I know some places where after eating your wachi and shit and all that stuff, you just want the ahaban and throw you somewhere, and the whole place is littered up, and it's brochi and nice. If you do the same thing, you're going to experience the same thing. The people in Abrochi don't mess up the place. When they eat the agare photo and all that, they don't just throw the plastic on the street. Here, the police will try you. So we have to change our mindset. It starts with us. All right, so we are talking about Josiah, who decided to change himself and make sure his citizenry all changed from their idol worship and everything that was going on. He realized that his father and grandfather were all idol worshippers, and he said to himself that as for me, this thing stops with me. I am not going to repeat what my father and grandfather did. I'm going to change. And so he began to move in a different direction. And the Bible says when he did that, God blessed him. All right, so the other characteristics that Josiah expressed was that he respected the rule of the spiritual leaders. I don't know which leaders you have or which spiritual leaders you have. In this world, everybody believes in something. Either you are a Christian, you are a Muslim, you are a Hindu, whatever you are. Some people don't believe in anything, whether you're an atheist or agnostic, whatever it is, you still believe in something, because your belief is that you don't believe in anything. That is also some faith. If you believe in God, that is your faith. So this guy knew that there were some spiritual leaders in his country that he had to respect. Despite the fact that he was a king, he was a president, everything, he knew the role of the spiritual leaders. We have spiritual issues and we have physical issues, emotion, whatever it is. There are some spiritual things, of course, we don't see them, but they do happen. And he gave obedience to the Spirit. He said, you know what? These are the people who will lead us to God. He knew that Israel had come out of all, kinds of stuff, and so they need to give place to the worship of God. He understood that there was some deity, divinity somewhere that provides, and he had read a story about how his people had, crossed the Red Sea or something. And so, only God could have done that. There is no way anybody can stand and open the Red Sea for it to just open by Allah for people to walk through. There was some powers that was behind. So he knew the role of spiritual leaders and he gave them respect. So I don't know what kind of leaders you have, spiritual leaders you have, but then if you have faith and you believe in what they do, then you have to really appreciate them. Of course, these days, every good thing has counterfeits. So we have spiritual leaders and we have some that have come in to blend it and mess it up. So now it's difficult knowing who the real spiritual leaders are. But at least if you pray and you move in the right direction, you will know the genuine ones from the fake ones. I mean, any good thing will have a counterfeit. You just have to know the right one. It's just like when people are trained to be cashiers, they let them know what the real currency is, and they show them the fake ones that people might come into the store with. So you have to be very, very careful to know when you take the money, is this one fake or is this one genuine? They have to know it. So you have to know the kind of leaders you are entrusting your life with. If you go to a place where the way they teach, the way they do stuff is against your own inner witness, and then it's not for you. Because if you are preaching something that is not from what you believe, then you don't spend your time there. You have to go to a place where you be taught rightfully, and so you can follow and be a better person. All right, the other characteristics Josiah exhibited was that he maintained a teachable spirit. Can you imagine this 8-year-old boy walking through Judah or the country telling them, hey, yo, I am the king of this land. Everybody will sleep at 6 o'clock. Whether you like it or by force or yes, you sleep at 6 because I have said it. And this guy was pompous, just like his father. Who would have loved him? Everybody would have hated him. But here we learn that this guy had a teachable spirit. What that means is that he was very humble and ready to be taught. Some of us are too proud, too cocky. The reason why you are not going forward is because, dare I say, that you are too proud and you are too cocky. You don't want anybody to teach you anything. You don't want to listen to anything at all. If anybody wants to teach you something, you don't want to listen. You are not teachable. You have to have a teachable spirit. Here was a boy who was only 8 years. 8 years, but he maintained a teachable spirit. Of course, he could have been proud. He could have been very proud, but he decided, you know what? I'm not going to be proud. I am going to be teachable. I will let my mom teach me. Although I am the king, my word overrides what my mother will say. I will still be teachable. Mama, I believe he still called his mother Mama because the father was dead. Mama, what am I eating this morning? Mama, yes, ma'am. Some of you lack teachable spirit. Even when somebody is teaching you something, you don't want to listen. I remember when I went to North Carolina to work, and there was an instrument that, I had worked on already. It's one of the blood bank instruments, and I knew the ins and outs of the instrument. But this lady who was the supervisor, I don't want to mention her name here, but I'll do Sabrina. Sabrina taught me how to use this because even when I went there, I was telling them that, can we get this instrument? Yeah, she was looking into it. Eventually, she got it. And then I knew how to work it, but then I decided, hey, I'm not going to do any pomposity or anything. So I just mellowed, and she taught me all that she had to teach me. And later on, she was furious with me. Charles, you knew this instrument. You made me struggle to teach you. I said, well, I have to be teachable and let you teach me all that. And you see, you have to be teachable. Sometimes you have to be a mentee and be a good mentee. Look at Elisha and Elijah. I think from history, we are told that Elisha was even older than Elijah. But this guy became a mentee and learned the ropes because he wanted to become a better prophet. Prophet. That is why when Elijah was dying, he said, give me a double portion. And the guy was humble. He was teachable. He allowed himself to be taught. And he became a better king. At the age of 8, who becomes a king at 8? But 2 Kings is telling us this boy, by the fact that his father died, became the king, next of king. They didn't say they were going to take the Wafasir to be the direct son of the king, and he became the king. And so this boy exhibited the characteristics of what? A teachable spirit. Right tonight, I'm talking about change that comes from within and starts from you. And of course, let me pause again and give another shout out to my CEO, Dr. Osetutu, who celebrated his birthday yesterday. Yesterday, I think he was 21. He got 21 years. So he's still young and handsome. And I'm sure Abner from Pama, he's treated him very well. So big up. Shout out to Dr. Osetutu. All right, what are the other characteristics that Josiah exhibited? We know Bible says at the age of 8, he became a king. All right, so he desired to hear the words of God. This guy in those days in Ghana, we'll call him Krife. Maybe he went to SU. He was a SU guy, he was listening to the preaching. He was blowing in tongues and he desiring to hear the words of God. He just loved God. What are you saying? And who better to do it than the spiritual leaders? So with a teachable spirit, very humble and obedient, the leaders of the spiritual leaders taught this young boy from 8 to become a better person, even to hear the voice of God because he desired it. And the other characteristic is that He listened to spiritual rebuke and responded with brokenness, realizing how far from God's law his people had strayed. As I said earlier on, Josiah wasn't pompous. I'm sure with time he grew from 8 years, 9 years, and became older. And he knew that if he did something wrong and he was corrected, he had to listen and change. Some of us, when we are rebuked, we become angry. We are all learning. Somebody tells you something, that you did, badly, and they are telling you to change because of just the fact that you want to accept it and become better. No, you want to show off. You don't want to accept in humility. And days ago, it used to be with men, but now the men have changed. Now we have listened. When our wives say stuff, we listen and we move. But years ago, a woman can't advise the husband. You can't tell the husband to do anything. Oh, Mira, me pachawa did and say, oh, who are you? Who about no be to me for? They won't listen. But these days, the world has changed. We are now in a different paradigm shift. So we are listening to the woman. We are even listening to our children. You remember the story about Naaman when he had a leprosy? He was a leper, and the maidservant told this leper that, I wish you had seen this prophet who does miracles in Israel. And of course, Naaman didn't want to listen. Typical man, but somebody told Naaman that if they had told you to do something great, wouldn't you have done it? So eventually he listened to this lady, small girl, and went to look for the prophet. And then when they told him to dip into the Jordan River 7 times, he was even furious. We have better rivers in my hometown. What do you mean I should go and dump in this river? But then eventually he listened. So Josiah listened to rebuke. I'm sure there were times that he made some decision that was wrong, but then they told him, hey, young boy, we are kwala, so team penny for you 240. He listened. Whether it was bad or good, he listened and he moved forward. So his idea was that my people have sinned against God. They are messed up. We have to change. But where does the change begin from? It begins with me. It begins from my inside and it has to come out. Your internal traits has to exhibit on the outside. People have to say it. Don't just say it and let people think that, oh, you said it. Say it and do it. Let them know that whatever you are saying, you are doing it as well. So this guy was a sayer and he was a doer. That is the only way he could lead. We know of many leaders who will just tell us, oh, okay, hey, go do this, but they themselves will not do it. You have to exhibit that leadership quality that you are doing. And years ago, remember when one of our presidents came on the scene, Jerry Rawlings came. In those, it hadn't been very popular for a leader to roll his sleeves and pick up a shovel and dig the ground or gutter like people were doing. Hey, JJ. The guy was doing it. He was, an army guy who didn't mind. His favorite food was gobe. Gary and beans and all that. He gets some gobe. He's okay to go and just give me the pickers. I'll do it. He had to exhibit leadership. Show the people that, you know what, I'm not just telling you to do it. I want to do it with you. Let's go to Alaji Gota and go and clean it. How many of us, those in places who take, let's say, I once visited Ghana and I was so sad, this gutter it was so drenchy. It was full and people were just selling stuff behind it. And somebody would come and buy bread or buy wache right behind the gutter and say, so you guys, why don't you take maybe one Saturday and say, okay, we are doing communal labor. Nobody open their shop before 10 a.m. Everybody meets, let's take pickaxes, let's take shovels, let's clear the street, let's clear the field, maybe for just 2 hours every Saturday. Can you imagine how neat the place will be? But they won't. But anyway, we are talking about change that begins from you, begins from your inside. All right, let me take a quick break and then we'll continue.
Era One Radio. Era One Radio. Era One.
All right, tonight we are still broadcasting from Facebook and YouTube and also on Modern Ghana Radio. You are listening to us from the studios, live from the studios. And as I said earlier on, in a few minutes, I think the people in Georgia would have finished They are voting, and we'll know who is going to be the next senator, whether it's Raphael Warnock or it's going to be Herschel Walker. Whoever is going to be, we'll find out. Well, we're still talking about change that should come from you and starts with you and ends with you, of course, I might say. It starts within you and it has to show. So if you want to see any change in life, it has to start with you and you have to exhibit it. We are approaching 2023. By God's grace, we will all see the promised land of 2023. But then if something didn't go right in 2022, you have to evaluate. There should be a moment of evaluation. Before 31st December comes, you should be able to evaluate your life and say, what are the resolutions that I put for the year? What did I say I was going to do that I wasn't able to do? Were there some parameters? Did you set too high goals that you couldn't attain? Or whatever it is, you should be able to evaluate your life and see how you're going to fix it in 2023. Because if you're going to do the same thing in 2023, then you might as well forget it, because you can't be doing the same thing and expect different results, like I said earlier on. So the other characteristics of Josiah was the fact that he pursued the things of God rather than his personal prestige. That is what most of his predecessors had done. His father, all those worshiping idols and all that. But this young boy, as we read, pursued the things of God. He wanted to give all the glory to God with the change coming from him. He didn't say, I'm the king. Yeah, everybody must go to me and all that stuff. He desired and he pursued to do the things of God rather than bringing glory to himself. That is one of the things that this guy did. And it worked for him. I can't even imagine at the age of 8 being called to be a king. Even his father at 22 messed up. But this guy, as I've run through the characteristics, the 9 characteristics, surrounded himself with good people, and that enabled him to be the king that was spoken. When you read through the Bible, especially the kings and all that, it enumerates all the kings that came. You talk about Saul, you talk about David, you talk about all those people that came. The people that followed Solomon, all the people, even Solomon, reputed to be the wisest person in the world, messed up. Can you imagine a person being called the smartest and the wisest person became crazy at the end of his life? What happened? Because he decided not to follow his own principles. The guy who said, bring me the knife or bring me the cutlass, machete, and let me split the baby into two so we'll know who the actual baby belongs to. And he won the case. By that, they were able to know who the right person was. Even him, he messed up. So all the leaders, kings who have come, they had their own agenda. But here, Bible is telling us that Josiah pursued the things of God. He did not just live to please himself or to be, Mountain John Frame, all that stuff. All the glory didn't go to him. He decided to pursue God. So that's what I'm talking about tonight. Change that comes within you, and it should start with you. So we are looking at, if we want to see change in our lives or in our country or whatever it is, it has to be, you have to make up your mind that this is what I'm going to change, this is what I'm going to do. And if you do it, if John does it, if Mary does it, and all of us do it, then eventually we're going to change our lifestyle. It's going to be better. We're not going to blame our president for doing, because the president also would have started from where we stood from. If they all have the principles that we are all undertaking, when they get there, it's going to be the same thing. They will not make promises and just deny them, because the change must begin from you. What you want to see starts from you. Make good decisions. Change your lifestyle by the things you say, the things you do. We are all learning. We are all getting there. We have to do it. So if you want to see change in anything, it begins with you. We are talking about, we want the dollar to be arrested. Well, we have to do what it needs to be done before we get it arrested. You're not just going to go and, just pray and it happens. Yeah, God hears prayers, but then you have to do your portion. We had people go to rivers where Galamsey is going on a large scale, and they went there. What did they do? They prayed. It's good, but after praying, go and tell the people, stop doing it. Follow it up with something else. Don't just go and stand there and cast demons and think it's done. I believe the devil is now tired. He himself wants to be born again, because everything that happens, they blame it on the devil. Anyway, it's election night in Georgia, and so I'm not going to talk too much, but I want to say thanks to Dr. Ossus for making this platform available. I wish him an awesome birthday. I'm sure he's been treated very well. All right, let me take a quick ad, and then we'll move on. I am almost on the timeline.
Hello, beautiful people of Ghana. This is Vanahine Specialist Hospital. We are so excited to announce to our people Ghana that we are finally opened and we are accepting patients. At Boison Specialist Hospital, our extraordinary physicians and nurses are here to provide a high-quality medical service to our extraordinary patients. Our services include primary care services, maternal, neonatal, and pediatric services. We also have an in-house pharmacy. We have x-ray and laboratory services available to you. Come to us for all your healthcare needs, and you will be happy you did, because we believe the health is wealth. Thank you, and stay blessed.
This is not your typical green tea. The Fumigio Herbal Tea by Glucose Care International is a nutritious drink and a natural blood glucose reducer. Gymnema plant, the active ingredient in the Fumigio Herbal Tea, suppresses the absorption of carbohydrate ingested from your diet. The green tea content in the Fumigio Herbal Tea promotes rejuvenation of dead cells, detoxification of your system, stimulates the pancreas to release insulin, and improves metabolism. Drinking one sachet of Fumigio Herbal Tea after meals prevents the rise in blood sugar levels, suppresses appetite, and improves bowel movements. Drinking Fumigio Herbal Tea regularly after meals can also prevent type 2 diabetes. We encourage you to drink Fumigio Herbal Tea 3 times in a day, coupled with mild exercises to maximize its benefits. Fumigio Herbal Tea has been approved by the FDA. Toxicity test conducted by SGS, so it is safe and non-toxic. A product of Singapore. With Fumigio Herbal Tea, your peace of mind is guaranteed. Call our shop now on 0245 810 623 and set your path to good health.
Well, it's so funny that Ghana also has what we call FDA, Food and Drugs Authority. I don't know how they also use the USA FDA, but then the FDA in Ghana has approved this tea, and it's it's been approved, to take off diabetes. And I know a relative who is in that business, is in that business, and it's been tested and tried. He gave me, as a researcher, he sent me all the documents, the research that was done on this Fumigio herbal tea, and the results it produced. Of course, you can't just put stuff on the market. It has to be researched into, find out, do all the clinical testing, trials, and make sure it meets what it's purported to be. So the research, volumes of pages were written on this study, and it shows that it's been able to lower people who have diabetes or high A1Cs have been brought down. So if you're in Ghana, get all the information was on the ad. Get the tea. Just put a sachet in hot water, drink it after a meal, after eating your carbohydrates and everything. Just drink it and you're going to see results. But it doesn't also mean that just go and consume every crazy food you can think about and just say, oh, I have the tea, so I'm just going to eat my gobe, eat my food, eat my wache, everything, and I'll sit down and drink the tea. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. It will help you eventually, but don't intentionally go and eat all this food and pile them together and no exercise. It works with those who take it and they exercise, so it has to be a synergistic effect. All right. Well, Era One is a 24/7 program. We always bring you education, we entertain you, we inform you of what is going on. So as a non-profit organization, if you think and see that what we are doing to help the communities of a profitable venture, you want to bless the station so it can go on to do good deeds for people, you can call the studio 2402-802-633 and our studio manager will pick it up. Do some acts of kindness. We are bringing the equipment that are involved in doing this broadcast. So if you want to help out, of course, it's a non-profit, so whatever comes in will be used to help other people in less fortunate countries or places. So don't forget to chime in and call the number. Well, we are on broadcasting media every day, every moment. If we are not talking like I'm doing it, we are playing music from Mondays through Sundays. There's something always for you to listen. Of course, when you come on the show on Monday, you will hear something about our financial program. Our brothers coming to explain how your money can work for you. I think that one of the last ones I listened was talking about mortgage versus renting. Do you want to rent continually, want to rent for the rest of your life, or you want to buy a house and pay mortgage, which can be used towards your tax and all that stuff? You want to come and listen to all this apport that they give, of course, on Tuesdays like this. And then before even the Tuesday, our brother Kobe and Dr. Ostus and Dr. Pokwajima, they come in to also give us news from afar. If you are here and want to hear what is going on in other places in the world, don't just sit down. You can come here and they will give you all the apport. They have a program titled Yensum. Let me play a clip of it, and then you know what I'm talking about. All right, so as I was saying, we have that on Mondays, and then Tuesdays I come your way with a divine connection. Wednesday, our brother, the same program comes back on Wednesday. Yensum program, our brother Kobe and I call him the trio, the three musketeers. Kobe, Dr. Ostus, and Dr. Pokwajima are coming to give us news from afar. You want to tune in and listen to them. And then Thursday, I come back again with a divine connection. I have my people, Brother Reverend Nisaba and Uncle Max from Ghana. They join me in a very hot discussion that is very informative. And on Friday, we have our brother also coming to give us Count Your Blessings, Brother Siam. And it's very productive program that you want to listen to. When you hear testimonies about what God is doing with people, it kind of changes you, inspires you that, hey, you can also push it. And then Saturdays, very early in the morning, even when some of us are still in bed, our brother also cranks his train from Maryland all the way, inviting people, playing birthday lyrics and music for people. And this is a clip of it. You want to listen in the jiffy. So if you have any gift, if you're a talented singer and you said nobody has adored you, nobody's discovered you, it's like what you're doing is like era one idol or something. If you want to be discovered, he's going to discover you. Let him know. Call the studio and he will interview you. He plays some of your music, and that is how you get discovered. So if you have a gift, don't sit on it. Just reach out to Dr. Ostus every Saturday morning, and he will accommodate you, interview you, and make sure your gift is being adored. Listen. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, that's a chukichaka, that's a train sound. So he cranks his train, and he's all over the country. So get in touch. If you have musical career you want to promote, he's going to help you do it. So that's on Saturday morning. And Saturday in the evening from 6 to 7, we'll have what we call the Health is Worth Protected show. Everyone has it all. We have everything. We advise you from finance. We inspire you. And I forgot, on Thursday, after my divine in the evening from I think 9 to 10, our brothers come and also teach us something about marriage. Those of you who want to get inspired and romantic and all that you can think about, AGO2 comes with this Auntie B and Dr. Fum to talk about maturity in marriage and all the things that nuggets that you can use to apply in your life. So Saturday evening we'll do our health show, Health is Well show, and Sunday, that's a climax of our program. We have the ladies, our first lady, Sister Abna from Poma, and her quartet, sometimes quintet. They also come and give us some vibes on, it's contemporary issues. They talk about all kinds of issues from romance to financial, what we call chop money, everything. They are there to give us all the info. If you haven't been listening, you are missing a lot. Listen to this.
They are 4 women. They are beautiful with brains. They are eloquent, decent, wise, and experienced. You have heard many, the funny. Now, it's time to hear the experience and the brainy. Meet Selena, Dorcas, Gifty, and Annette as they present the real in common getting. In common biaye sesi chin, the as in takrenu assume the real in common getting. Showing live this and every Sunday, 7 p.m. on Era One Radio on Facebook and on YouTube, Era One Radio and on Taibo channel. Kaise, so we see the real in common getting ya. What brabon tete, when yan konsa, we the real in common getting.
That is the rare in common kitty ladies. Make a date with them every Sunday from 7 to 8, and they will be there to blow your mind. Well, I am about to leave the studio. My hour is up, and I just want to let you know again and again that the change you're looking for begins with you. It starts from you. It begins from your inside. It comes up, and you have to effect that change. Don't wait for anybody to change you. In actual fact, they keep telling us nobody can change anybody. You are the only one who can change yourself. That's what they tell us. If you marry and you think your spouse is going to change you, forget it. Forget it. It's not going to happen. You have to change yourself. You will try to steer them here and there, but the change begins with you. It starts with you, and it has to end with you. So thank you for joining me tonight. I will, leave the reins. But before I do, I just want to let you know that I'm sure the voting in Georgia has come to an end. We're just going to know very soon who is going to be the next senator from Georgia. I want to wish you a very good evening, and stay blessed. Be safe and don't do anything crazy. Make sure 2023 comes to meet you, and do whatever you can possibly to make life better for you and for somebody else. Have a good evening, and I will see you very soon. All right, bye-bye.
Aden urefiana Seo to me manya eni about Aden wasua mani suwa for sunyade Aden meba Aden kra Eya useni da suasa Eni da suwa Eni da suwa Eni da suwa Eni da suwa